Today we're taking a look at a Yashica autofocus motor. Long name for a camera. Comes in this beautiful leather case. This was a gift from my good friend Dick Davis. The value on one of these on eBay is about $30 to $70 if it's working. In the case of this one, I'd have to say it's probably worth $5. It has a couple of problems. When they were new, they were $200. This has a, I'll say, poor or erratic focus, although I think that's probably common with almost all of these cameras. And the flash just doesn't work, so there is that against it. These were made from 1981 for several years. Yashica was acquired by Kyocera in 1983. This very same camera was also known as the 5-star. Its one characteristic, which you'll see in a minute, is it's very noisy. In fact, they call the sound of advancing the film and focusing meshing, and that's pretty accurate description in the manual. When it was called the 5-star, the reason for that name was it has 5 automatic systems: auto film loading, autofocus, auto film advance, auto exposure, and auto exposure with flash. The standard lens, it has this really nice lens cover, which not only covers the lens but covers the viewfinder and the focusing windows. It also has tiny little holes in it so you can tie a string on it to your strap lugs so you could tether it so you'd never lose it. It comes with a 35mm f2.8 lens. The electronic shutter goes from 1/45th of a second to 1/500th of a second, and it's fully automatic. You don't have a choice. And the ASA settings are 25 up to 400. And if you wanted to manually change your exposure, changing the ASA is the only real way to do that. And it also has an interesting focus lock, which we'll talk about. The camera case, I'll go back to that here for a second, has a little storage pouch here. And I've tried it. You can actually get 2 AA batteries in there for spare batteries and close the case with it. So that's kind of neat. So your case can carry the spare batteries as well. On the top of the camera, we have the flash unit, which you push it and it pops up like so. And the pop-up flash ready light, which in the case of this camera never lights. Probably the capacitor is bad inside, but fortunately the rest of the camera does seem to work. Here's the shutter button. There's a little window for an exposure counter, and there's this lock switch. So if I have it locked, you can't press the shutter button. Interestingly enough, though, you can press the focus lock button, and that was its focus lock. And if I unlock it, you can actually take a picture. There's that meshing sound. On the camera bottom, we have the battery compartment. It takes 2 AA batteries, and they're in there. Those are fresh batteries. A standard 1/4x20 tripod socket, and that's the rewind switch. And when you flip it, it rewinds till there's no tomorrow. Whether there's film in there or not, it'll never stop till you flip it back. Kind of third world, but trying to build a cheap camera. On the front of the camera, we have a self-timer switch. Now, it's not a self-timer lever as you'd normally think, where there's a mechanical escapement that winds down. It's just a switch. You can feel it click. So that's setting it, and if I'm not locked and went to take a picture, then you see the self-timer light flashing. And rapid flashing. And it took a picture, and it turned off the self-timer switch. Now the lens cap we just removed. These 2 windows are for focusing, and I'm sure it could focus better if the windows were cleaner, but I cleaned them up quite a bit and it still was pretty erratic focusing. Those are called the image detecting windows. That's the front viewfinder window. Here's the pop-up flash. The focus lock button is really interesting because what happens is it's not like you focus and then you lock the focus in you found, because it's all automatic. So if you press focus lock, it actually focused, and it believed, right now looking straight up to my camera, which is actually an iPhone, it set the distance with that little bar. Then when you press the shutter button, it'll take the picture and switch it back, and now focus lock is turned back off. So it's a switch that sets it up and stays there until you take it. Kind of strange, but I could see where you could use it. So that window where it showed the little bar is called the distance indicator window, and the self-timer light you saw. And to set the film speed, which is right now on ASA 200, you turn this little knob dial in the middle. It turns very difficultly. It clicks. So there's ASA 100. And then, of course, the little window here where you read out the ASA, the film speed, is called the film speed indicator window. On both sides, there's nothing to see except the strap lug. On the camera back, there's again, you can see the back side of the flash ready light, the back of the viewfinder. It's a nice viewfinder. There's two large frames in the viewfinder, one slightly offset down and to the right for parallax compensation. And when you're about 1.5 feet away, you should use that window. And then there's a small square window in the middle, and that's for focusing, and that's showing you the area that it's expecting to try and use the two little windows to do the focusing. That's the film transport window, so when there's film in there and you take a picture, you would see that spinning. Same with rewinding. And last but not least, this is the back cover lock release, and we open it like that. So let's try load a roll of film in it, see if we can do that without technical difficulties. Now this is 400 speed film, and you know I set this film speed to 100. It does not have a DX sensor for the film, so it ignores these modern things on the film to set this film speed automatically. You just put it in and you pull the view out till you get it into the red zone here, and that's good enough for it. And we'll close that. Now if we press the button, it should wind the forward, and you see the transport mechanism spinning, and a little indicator at the top says picture number 1. And every time we take a picture now, you see the film transport moving. And if I'll focus to the wall, that was my focus lock, and it thought the distance was, well, a lot further than you would think. So it's pretty erratic focusing, although it is dark in here. So that's it. You take the noisiest pictures ever. It's all fully automatic. And then when you're done, if you hit the rewind button, it'll rewind it all the way into the can and keep going. But I don't want it all rewound because I want to use this again for demonstrations later. So we'll just pull that out. Probably can take it out that way. Now let me show you a couple of accessories that came with it, since my friend gave it to me. In addition to the way cool lens cap and viewfinder cover, it keeps everything nice and clean. This case has a wide angle and a telephoto adapter lens, all protected with some plastic wrap. Nice lined case. And these are all clearly labeled so you can tell which one's which. That says for telephoto, made in Japan, patent pending. And this is for wide angle. And I don't know which one of these is which. This says telephoto lens, autofocus range 6 feet to infinity, made in Japan. So if we Put this on. That's the telephoto attachment. And here's for telephoto. So this snaps right over the viewfinder windows, like so. And if I look through it now, it actually has a thick width blue rectangle that's much smaller than the normal viewfinder. You can see it here on the front, and that would be the area of the picture that would be exposed to the film with that telephoto lens on. Let's take that off. And this would be the wide angle lens. And we can take this off. Well, like I say, when this camera was new, they were about $200, and my friend bought the extra lenses, so I'm sure he paid quite a bit for it. And to their credit, it was Yashica, and it probably took some really nice pictures. I'm not so sure about the erratic focusing, but I think probably outside in bright light, it probably works pretty good. And now when I look through the viewfinder, the frame lines are gone, even the ones that are normally there, I guess. And you can tell that there's a little lens in the front, and it's a wider view than before. So we'll take this back apart. Velinar is the brand, apparently. So that's it, the Yashica autofocus motor, noisiest camera ever. Isn't that great? Try focusing close. Pretty erratic focus. There, see, it got a close focus for the first time ever. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.